Our Bible word is John 16 verse 7. Nevertheless, I tell you the truth. It is to your advantage that I go away. For if I do not go away, the Helper will not come to you. But if I depart, I will send him to you. So this is Jesus. This is the farewell discourse. He's addressing his disciples. Of course, the farewell discourse is John chapter 13 to 16. That is the evangelist's depiction of the last meal Jesus had with his disciples. And of course, he's preparing them now for his absence. He's preparing them for his departure. And it tells them of the circumstances and the situations that they will face. So there are four main things that Jesus mentions in the farewell discourse. Firstly, of course, that he's going away. He's going away to the Father. But he's also promising them that he will return. And we also understand here that the evangelist writes the gospel in such a way that he addresses two audiences at the same time. He writes in such a way where Jesus is speaking to the apostles who were there with Jesus before his crucifixion in the 30 AD or so. But he also writes it in a way where he addresses the church in Asia Minor, the Johannine community, around the 90s AD. So we must remember that. It's because sometimes it may be confusing in terms of when Jesus is going, when he's coming back, etc. But imagine that you are in two places at the same time. You're with the disciples. Jesus is speaking to his disciples. And he's also speaking to the church in the 90s AD. Especially, John is writing for their specific circumstances there in Asia Minor, in Ephesus in particular. So Jesus is telling them, I'm going away, but I'll also come back to you. I will return. Jesus also speaks to or admonishes them, be obedient to my teachings, be obedient to my commandments, remain connected with me. Like Jesus says, I'm the vine, you are the branches. Without me, you can do nothing. So that's the second thing that Jesus admonishes them, be obedient to my teaching. And Jesus also warns them of persecution, that they will be kicked out of the synagogues. And people will also kill them and think they'll do God a service. So they will suffer persecution also when Jesus is gone. And quite relevant to our video here is that Jesus promises that he will send the Holy Spirit. And in John, the Holy Spirit has a particular angle to it because John calls it the Paraclete. It's derived from the Greek parakletos, and it means helper or advocate. And it refers to this kind of intercessory figure. He will come to your aid. He will come to your defense in a court of law. He will also target your opposition and he will also cross-examine them, etc. So this is the Paraclete, and it's a unique way that John's Gospel refers to the Holy Spirit. This is the helper, the advocate that Jesus will send in his place. And the first time Jesus speaks or mentions is in chapter 14. If we go to verse 16, Jesus says, and I will pray the Father, and he will give you another helper, that he may abide with you forever. Take note of that. He will give you another helper. Who's the first helper? It's Jesus. Jesus was the first counselor, the first advocate or helper. And he will send another one when he's gone. And who is this helper? Verse 17 it says, the Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive. Then Jesus says in verse 18, I will not leave you orphans, I will come to you. So Jesus is telling his disciples here, also those believers in the 90s AD, I will come to you, I will not leave you orphans. I will be present with you through another helper, the Holy Spirit. Of course, we must also understand that for the Johannine community, they are people of the Spirit, the Holy Spirit. That's what's distinguished them and that sets them apart from other people, other Jews, other Gentiles who do not believe in Jesus. Because, of course, there's this promise of the Spirit who will come on God's people. So this is very important for the Johannine community also, as they are people of the Spirit. Jesus sent the Holy Spirit to them, and that is what sets them apart from other people who do not believe in Jesus. So those are the four main issues that Jesus addresses. He's going away, but he will also come back. that they must be obedient to His commandments. They will face persecution. Some of them will even be put to death. Then lastly, Jesus promises that He will send the Holy Spirit, the helper, the advocate, the paraclete, or the parakletos as it's written of in Greek. So chapter 16 begins where Jesus actually warns them. They're going to persecute you and they were going to kill you. Even those think that they are worshipping God or doing a service to God. And then He also speaks to them of the Holy Spirit. And of course the Holy Spirit, there are various tasks that the Holy Spirit will do. And that is our larger literary context here. It's John 16 verses 5 to 15. It's the work of the Holy Spirit. This is what the paraclete or this helper or advocate will do when Jesus sends it to them. And throughout the farewell discourse, there's various things that they will do. But it mainly focuses around three main ideas. That the paraclete, He will teach and He will reveal the truth. And that also means that He will testify of Jesus. And another important thing that He will do is He will mediate the presence of Jesus. And also what's quite relevant to us in this video is that it will be a prosecutor of the cosmos. In other words, as much as a paraclete, this advocate will come to your defense and aid, He will also turn the table, so to speak, and He will start charging your opponents with crimes that they have committed. So, specifically verses 8 to 11, that is where the paraclete will act as the world's prosecutor. And this work will be done through the testimony of the apostles. Jesus also, in a sense, He came and He put the world to trial. It's also a bigger theological theme in the Gospel of John. Jesus has come and He's kind of put the world on trial. But He also says in a place, I didn't come to condemn the world, I've come actually to save it. But to a degree, the world is also on trial because those who do not believe in Jesus are also already condemned. So also the paraclete, through the ministry of the apostles, they will also put the world on trial and they will actually prove that the world is wrong. They stand condemned because they are wrong. And if we come to our Bible word again, it says, nevertheless, I tell you the truth, it is to your advantage that I go away, for if I do not go away, the helper will not come to you. But if I depart, I will send Him to you. So Jesus is saying here, I will send the paraclete to you, this other helper. And part of His task is to prosecute the world for the crimes that they've committed. And what are these three crimes? There are three. In chapter 16, verse 9, Jesus says, of sin, because they do not believe in me. The second crime, of righteousness, because I go to my Father and you see me no more. The third crime that they will be convicted of is of judgment, because the ruler of this world is judged. So yeah, the paraclete is a prosecutor. Where it was kind of like a defense attorney, now the roles are reversed. Now the paraclete, through the ministry or the preaching of the apostles, it will prosecute the world. Of course, the world here stands for anybody and anything that stands in opposition to Jesus and His teaching. And the sins there, of course, it's of sin, because they do not believe in me. Righteousness, because I go to my Father and you see me no more. And of judgment, because the ruler of this world is judged. So this is part of the tasks that the paraclete will fulfill after Jesus has sent Him. And there's this other role, just after this, that Jesus speaks of that the Holy Spirit will do. In verse 13 it says, however, when He, the Spirit of truth, has come, He will guide you into all truth. And then Jesus goes on also, He will speak of what is mine. He will bear testimony of me and also what my Father in heaven has given Him. And of course, yeah, Jesus also says you cannot bear to hear this all now, so I won't tell you much any further. But of course also this is a time of sadness when they hear that Jesus will be gone. But yeah, Jesus gives them words of encouragement. I will not leave you orphans. I will return to you. I will come back to you. Firstly, in the form of the Holy Spirit, this paraclete, who will come to your defense, your aid. But also, yeah, within our immediate context here, it will also serve as a prosecutor. It will prosecute the sins of the world because it opposes Jesus.